In this part of the Pythagorean theorem video, we will see how we can solve word problems using a right triangle and the Pythagorean theorem. In this example, a company designed a public play area in the shape of a square with dimensions 100 yards by 100 yards. The play area will include a pathway diagonally through the center of the square. Find the length of the pathway to the nearest hundredth. So in these examples, I would highly suggest drawing a diagram. Nothing super fancy or detailed is required, just enough so that you can lay out your ideas for measurements on paper and be able to determine which part of the right triangle is missing, A, B, or C. So here's our play area with a diagonal path through the center. So if we look at this square as split into two right triangles, we would see that the 100 and the 100 yards would represent the lengths of A and B, and then our missing path across the diagonal would be the value of C. So in our formula, that would be A squared plus B squared equals C squared. If A and B are both 100, 100 squared plus 100 squared, each of those are 10,000. So 10,000 plus 10,000 is 20,000. And then 20,000 is equal to C squared. And then to find C, we take the square root. So again, we take second on our calculator, the x squared button. So hit the second button first. That's usually in the top left-hand corner. And then you're going to hit the button that looks like this, x squared. And then you're going to type in the number 20,000. And then you hit enter, and that will give you the value of C, which in this case is 141.42 yards for the length of the pathway. The second example says a painter leans a 40-foot ladder 12 foot from the side of the building. How far up the building does the ladder reach? Round to the nearest hundredth. So this diagram would be a little bit different. Here's a building. And this, like I said, this does not need to be a fancy drawing. Here's our building. They're placing the ladder 12 feet away from the wall of the outside of the building. The ladder itself is 40 feet long. So this is often confused which measurement is 40 feet. In this case, the length of the ladder is leaning diagonally up against the building. That is what's 40 feet. And we are actually asked to find this length. How far up the building does the ladder reach if they're putting it 12 feet away from the wall? So this measurement here, we'll call 12A, and we'll call our missing measurement here B. So then 40 is C. So we're going to say that 12 squared plus B squared equals 40 squared. 12 squared is 144, that's 12 times 12, plus B squared equals 40 squared, which is 1,600, and then we want to now solve for B. So here's where we, instead of adding the two together, we actually subtract 144 from 1,600, and that gives us about 1,456. And then to find B, we take the square root of 1,456, which is about 38.16 feet up the wall of the building. Give this example a try on your own. Here is what a diagram could look like for this. This is a little bit of a tricky one. So the river is 400 meters wide. It says he ends up 100 meters down the river from where he starts. So let's say he starts here, where he ends up down here is a is 100 meters down the river. So it wants to know, he didn't swim 400 because he didn't swim directly across. How far did he actually swim? And that missing value should be C. So 100 squared plus 400 squared equals C squared, which would be the square root of 170,000, which is about 412.3 meters. One more for you guys to try on your own. So this one is actually giving you measurements and asking for you to determine if this is a 90-degree angle. So the sides of a table that Seth is making are 36 inches and 18 inches, and it's asking the diagonal is 43 inches. Is this at a right angle? So there's a couple ways you could answer or solve this problem. You could figure out if 36 and 18 are the two sides, what would the diagonal have to be to make it a right angle? So you could do 36 squared plus 18 squared, and then that would give you a diagonal of 40.25 inches. So that could tell you that no, 43 inches does not make a right angle. Or you could just see if 36 squared plus 18 squared does actually equal 43 squared, which in this case it does not, because these two add up to 1620 and 43 squared is 1849. So those are not equal, which means that would not be a right triangle. So this would not be a 90-degree angle.